Who can tell me what the underscore and the percentage, what do they stand for? I'm recording now. Anybody?
I think the underscore is like the one like K underscore. If it starts with K and has some things after.
Some what after?
Some letters that like starts with K and has some things after it.
No, that's not it. Think about it again. Underscore and percentage. So if you say that, what would this mean? What would this mean? This one that I highlighted. John, I'm waiting. What would this mean?
Yeah, I think this one is it starts with K and has some other things after, and the underscore just means it has one thing after.
As what?
One letter after it.
Exactly. So the underscore means that you have just one letter. It represents exactly one character, while the percentage means 0 or more character. Percentage means 0 or more character. Awesome. And we began to talk about combining them, right? You can see here we combine them with underscore and percentage. Here also we combine them underscore and percentage. And we said here what happens is that it checks for 0 or more character before O and just exactly one character after O, right? So far, any question? They also talk about the is null function last class, right? Can you remember where we talked about the value is null, a value is if a value is null, right? So we say select all from employees where commission percentage is null. That is, that will return those who do not receive commission percentage, right? So when you have a null value in a table, right, you can use the is null in your where clause to restrict columns for those or results for those who do not receive or who has no values as their value, right? We looked at about a few examples on that as well. Then we also talked about the logical operators and, or, and not. I remember, right? I remember, and we said the and operator works for situations where you are putting two conditions and both conditions has to be true. Both conditions has to be true for the and to work. Can you remember? Both conditions has to be true for the and to work. So in this situation now, we're saying that where job IT is IT prog and salary is what? Is less than 10,000, right? Right? Then we have the or condition, right? We used the and extensively as well. Then we use the or condition. We said the or condition, that is either conditions has to be true. Either condition has to be true. So we said where commission percentage is not null, or manager ID is above 200, right? So each condition or either condition can be true in that situation. So for the and condition, both conditions has to be true for it to give a result. For the or condition or the or operator, either condition can be true, right? Either condition can be true. And of course, we remember that the last one, which is the not, is the opposite of true or the opposite of false. So if you say not, you're saying you are doing the opposite. So we say not in, and I began to talk about you can use not with in as not in. You can use not with between as not between, right? And you can use not with like as not like, right? Then finally, we started talking about the order by clause. Ordering or sorting data using sorry, ordering data, not sort. Ordering data using the order by clause. And we said the order by clause helps us to arrange our results either in an ascending or descending order. Either in an ascending or descending order. Right? And we looked at it extensively last class as well. We looked at how we use the order by clause to order a statement, right? But I'm going to start from the order by again today so that we can get the full grasp of it. Then we move into single rows and multiple row functions, right? That's what we're going to be doing after that. So we're going to be starting from the order by once again today. And like I said last class, the order by clause, right, is a clause that helps us to sort our data. Order our data, sorry, right? Order our data either in an ascending or descending order. So it helps us order our data either in an ascending or descending order, right? And take for example, I'm going to use this example. Let me quickly just do this. Use HR, right? By now, everybody should have this schema, and we're working extensively on this schema, right? So I'm going to say select employee ID, first name, last name, department ID, right? And I probably say where department ID. So I'll probably say where department ID, department underscore ID in, right? So that we can have a full grasp of all the things that we've talked about in 10, 20, 30, hold on, in 10, 50, 40, 90, 70, and 30, right? So we say order by what? Order by department and order by first name, right? So I'm going to remove first name first. We're going to just say order by department. And we are saying descending. So I'm going to remove descending first also. And let's see what we have. What would this give us presently, right? What would this give us, right? So if we run this now, awesome, right? Now you can see that by default, right? Look at it. I want you to look at the results. We're ordering by, if you look at the statement, we are ordering by department ID. Can you see? Order by department ID. Department ID is where our order is. The order by is carrying our department ID. And if you look at the department column, it is ordered in an ascending from 10 to 30, 30 to 40 to 50 to we have 50, we have 70, and we have 90, right? Now, you see that is in an ascending form, right? That is by default, right? The results are ordered in an ascending form, right? When we use the order by clause, the results are ordered in an ascending form. But this time around, I just want you to order in descending form, not in an ascending form, right? So I'm just going to say order by descending. Can you see? Order by department ID, descending, DESC, right? Now, can you see? 90, it starts with 90 and goes all the way down to what? To 10, right? That is how the order by clause works, right? That is how the order by clause works. So you can order by any column, right? You can order by any column. You can say order by first name, order by first name, right? Order by first name. Now, can you see the first name has been arranged, right? First name Adam, all the way down to Winston, right? We can also do the same and order by what? Order by last name as well, right? So ordering is just gives our query or our result a beautiful presentation, right? And we can see all the values that have the same attribute, right? So that is what you have. So this is ordering by last name. Can you see the last name column now starts with A, and you have that all the way down to Wayland, right? You have all the way down to Wayland, right? Now we can order by two columns, right? We can use two columns to perform ordering, right? Ordering.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, this order by first name and the last name.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do it in? You didn't put order in the ascending or descending order.
The first one, I did both of them in ascending order. Can you see? If you don't specify, it is as I said by default. It is ascending by default, right? If you don't specify,
by default, okay.
By default, it's ascending. Okay. So if you want to do the reverse, then you use descending.
Okay, it's clear. Thank you.
That's one. So ordering the results with multiple columns. Right? Now, this time around, we want to order this situation with multiple columns, right? What does that mean? It means that we want to perform an order by, right? When you order by two columns, right? So I'm going to say that I'm going to stick with this by default. Then I'm going to say descending here, right? I'm going to say descending here, and I'm going to show you what the result looks like. Now, look at the results. I want you to look at the results. By default, what you have is it is ordering the results by department ID in an ascending order. So you look at the department ID, you see that it starts from 10 and goes all the way down to what? To 110, right? So 110 department, the 110th department, right? Or department 110, right? So you have that ordered that way. But if you look at the first name column, right, then you will see that inside each of the department ID, it now orders their first name in a descending form. First of all, it is ordering the department ID, right? But it now does we call it multi-level what? Multi-level or multi-column ordering, right? Which means that in each of the department ID now, it now orders the first name. Now, let me show you so that you see what we're talking about. Now, look at department 20. First name, look at the first name column. You see that it starts with P and it ends with what? With M, right? That is P is above M. M is above P in the what? In the alphabet table. So, but because it's descending, P comes first before what? Before M. P comes what? Before what? Before M, right? Let's go to department start. You see S, right? S, then K, then G, then B, then A. Can you see? The first names are in descending order. Can you see? The first name are in descending order. The first name are in descending. If you go to department 50, can you see the same thing? Right. So let us do it this way. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to rearrange. Right. So we're going to say department in descending and first name in what? In ascending. Right. Now look at it. Right. The department ID is in descending. That's 110 to 10. Right. And the first name in what? In ascending order. right? So let's look at department 100. Look at department 100, right? I want you to look at department 100. Look at the first name column. D, after D, you go to I. After I, you go to J, then L, then N, and that's all, right? If you go to departments 90, you see that you have L as the first, then N, then S, and so it does a small ordering, right? So it does, what you have is that the big level ordering is done on the first column. Then it now orders the what? The content of each of the segmentation in each of what? In the next what? In the with the next order. That is in the first general order, which is on the department ID. It does a descending ordering. But in each of those departments, remember that there are several people. It now orders their name in ascending order. Let me know if you understood what I just said. Let me know if you understood what I explained. And if you have a question, please ask a question. Anybody?
It's not clear. Excuse me, sir.
I can hear you, ma.
It's not clear. You know, the department ID, I understand it, but this first name and last name,
Hold
I'm
on,
trying
just hold on.
to wrap my head around it.
Let me bring out my. Hold on, just hold on. I want to bring out my writing pad. I know that person. Come in. Just a minute. I can write and you can see what I can explain graphically. That's what I'm trying to do. It's almost up. Lola, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm fine, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you see my screen, please? Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
All right.
It's blank.
Yes, it's coming up. The application is usually too early. Don't know why. Please let me mute your mic, please. Yeah, now answer me. Please, it's coming up. It's just taking that time. But you can try this if your system is up. You can try this command or this statement on your system. Let's try it. If you have it. If you have your system on, let's try it. While my whiteboard dances and finishes, it's awesome. Yeah, too long to come up. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. Ordering. Ordering data using the order by, right? So, so let's assume, right, we're ordering from the department, sorry, from the employees table. All right, so we're doing a multi-column ordering, right? Now, this is it. Let's say that we have 5 departments, which are Department 10, Department 20, Department 30, Department 40, and Department 50, right? We have 5 departments, right? Department 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? So let's assume that, okay, so I'm just going to create a small table here. I'm just going to do this so that we can understand what I'm talking about, right? So we're going to say, first name and department ID, right? Let's say employee ID here, right? So I'll say employee 01 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, right? First name is A, J, M, Q, B, and S, right? And the department, this is in department 10, this is department 10, this is in department 20, this is in department 20, this is department 30, and this is department 30, right? So this is the way the data is. We want to order this data using put the what? The department ID. Please let me know if you are following me. Department ID and what? And first name, right? So the result will be like this, right? The result will be like this. Now, we're going to say first name and depth ID, right? Now, we are ordering by department ID, let's say department ID in descending and first name in what? In ascending, right? Now, if you look at it, department ID will say in descending. So that will be 30. How many 30s are there? 30, 30, 20, 20, and 10, 10, right? That's department ID sorted in what? In descending what? In descending order, right? But first name, we said first name is in ascending order, right? First name is in ascending order. So if we look at department 30 now, what do we have there? We have B. So B, if it is in ascending order, right? That will be A to Z, right? That is A to Z, A to Z, right? Descending is Z to A, right? Ascending is A to Z. So in department 30, we have B. So B comes first. And what's the next department? Then we have M. Then department 20, we have J and we have Q, right? J comes first. After what? Then after is Q. Then we have department 10, which is A and S, right? Now, if you look at it, each department, there is a sorting that is done inside each department. And that sorting is done by what? It's done by their first name. Each department is sorted by what? By their first name. Even though we have sorted the department in general, which is using the department ID. Now, the second sort affects the name inside each department. So each department is sorted differently based on what? On the first name what column. Are you following me? Each department is sorted based on what? Based on the first name what? On the first name column. So the sort again, I'm going to see this again. The sort, the general sort, which is the first sort, happen on what? On the department column. Then it now sorted the first name in each of the departments separately. Are you following me? So the inner, which is the second what? The second sort that is on the first name happens on each department separately. Do we understand that now? Please let me know if you understood what I just explained. Anybody? Hello?
I don't understand, sir.
Eh?
I don't really get what you said about the sorting.
Who's that?
It's me, Patricia.
You don't understand the sorting.
Yes, please.
Were you listening to what I was saying?
Again. Yeah, I was listening to it.
Any other person? Let me know. Let me know if there are more people who do not understand. Any other person? Madam Anita, do you get it now? Or should I explain it again? Lolade, do you get it? John?
Yes, I get it. You said that the name is being sorted in ascending order. why the department is being sorted in a descending order. So I understand that part.
Eh, all right, don't worry. I would explain again so that everybody can understand. All right, so um, you are asked to generate a report that arranges each department. I mean, that arranges all the departments in the company in a descending order, and the names of the employees in each ascending order. What would you do? Patricia, what would you do? Not saying you should write an SQL statement now, but logically, what would you do? Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to read the question. Sorry.
Right? You're asked to generate a report that arranges all the departments of the company in a descending order and the names of the employees in each department in an ascending order, right? So that we don't waste time. This is what this question is saying, right? Your company has, um, they're asking you to generate a report, right? That first of all, right, arranges all the departments in the company in descending order. So you have, let's say you have sales, marketing, accounting, admin, stock, inventory, IT, what else is there? Purchasing, finance, right? Let's assume you have all of these departments, right? If you are to arrange and you have, say you have 10 people in sales, you have 20 people in marketing, you have 5 people in accounting, you have 3 people in admin, you have 4 people in stock, you have 5 people in inventory, you have 6 guys in IT, you have purchasing, you have 7, and finance, you have 2, right? Now, what does that mean? It means that what you are asked to do is arrange these names in what? In descending order. When we say descending order, we're saying that from Z to what? To A, right? So we are to arrange this now. It will be admin. Sorry, it will be accounting before admin. Before admin, right? Then after accounting, admin, what do we have? Probably finance. F, uh, I inventory, then I of IT, then marketing. After marketing, you have purchasing. And after purchasing, you have what? You have sales. So we have arranged these in what? Oh, sorry. This is in ascending order. So which means that it has to be in descending. That's sales, purchasing, marketing, IT, inventory, finance, admin, and accounting. Right? So this is the right order. Right? This is the right order. Now, what you are now saying is that you're now saying that if this is the right order for the first one, right? You're now saying that in sales, there are what? There are 10 people in sales. There are 10 people in sales department, right? Arrange the names of people in sales department from what? In what order? Let me see. What order do we say? We say in ascending order, right? Arrange the name of the 10 people in sales from what? From A to Z. From A to Z. Arrange the name of people in purchasing. How many of them? 7. From A to Z. Arrange the name of people in marketing. From what? From A to Z. Arrange the name of people in IT. There are 6 of them in IT. Arrange their name from what? Arrange their name from what? From A to what? To Z, right? Arrange the name of people in inventory from what? From A to what? To Z. Arrange people in finance from what? From A to Z. Arrange the name of people in admin, even though there are 3 of them from what? From A to Z. And arrange the name of people in accounting from A to Z. So what happens is that it does a general sorting of the department column, right? And now does a what? An individual sorting on each of the column, each of the departments. And that is why if you go back to that statement, right, you have the first column, the first order, which is department ID, orders them in what? In descending order, right? If we remove this now and we run all of this, let's cut this out, right? And we run this, you'll discover that the sorting only affects the department ID, right? It only affects the department ID. Of course, every other value is affected by it as well, right? In the sense that it brings Shelley and Higgins up. But if you look at it, Shelley and Higgins are, how do I put it now? They are in the same department, right? And their first name, S, is after what? S comes after W. S comes before W in the alphabetical order, right? If you look at department 100, you have Nancy, you have David, you have John, you have Ishmael, you have you have Jose, you have Louis, yeah, right. But if you look at it, their first name is not arranged at all. N and D, right? N is before D. D is before N on the alphabetical order, but N is here as the first name. Then J here, then J. There's a I before J. There's another I. It is not ordered, right? So which means that if we want to order those names, what do? We now order for each department, right? We say first name, first underscore name, right? Ascending. First underscore name, ascending, right? Now, if you look at it, okay, let's put a where clause. Let me put a where clause to make this easy. So that we don't have to look at plenty data. Right, so let me put a where clause to make it easy. Right, so I'm going to say from where department underscore ID in 100 50, and 30. Three departments. So we are ordering just three departments. Can you see? 100 before 50 before 30. Can you see? That's in descending order. That's the first arrangement in descending order. Then the next one is now inside each of those departments. Remember that we have three departments, right? We're now saying that inside each of the departments, inside department 100, arrange the first name in ascending order. Look at it. First name, Daniel, D, before I, before J, before. If you look at what's called John and Joan and Ose, what you have is JOH, JOS. H is before S in the alphabetical order. Both of them have JO, but H is before S in the alphabetical order. That is why John is before what? Joseph. Then you have, after J, you have L. After L, it's supposed to be M, but we don't have an M. Then we have N. Can you see? If you come to department 50, can you see Adam, Alan, Alexis, Anthony, Brittany, and all of that, right? That is that sorting. So the sorting, this second sorting, is now inside each department. I hope you understand it now. The second sorting is done inside each department. It's done inside each department. Do we understand it now? Please let me know.
Yes,
Spend
sir. I
so
understand
much
it now.
time. Spend so much time on that. All right. So that is ordering. We have done ordering, and that brings us to the end of chapter 6. Right? That brings us to the end of chapter 6. We're moving to chapter 7 now. And in chapter 7, what we want to discuss is what we'll be discussing in chapter 7. Hold on, please. Discussing using single row. Come in. Using single row and multiple row functions to customize outputs. Right? This is what we want to talk about. Using single rows and multiple rows functions to customize output. And under this, we'll be discussing, basically, want to talk about how to use strings, how to working with strings, actually, or working with character. Working with character data type. That's what we want to talk about, basically, right? So talk about functions like concatenate, talk about functions like substring, talk about functions like length, talk about functions like in-string, talk about functions like lower, upper, round, trunk, truncate, and I think that will be all, right? So we're going to pick them one after the other. They are not hard, right? I'll just explain them, and you will see them in action. You see them in action. Awesome. So let's get right into it. I have the codes already. right? So when we talk about single row functions, right? Single row and multiple row functions to customize output, right? So the question will be that what are single row functions and what are multiple row functions, right? What are single row functions and what are multiple row functions? So from their word, actually, from the way they sound, right? Single row function means that these are functions that when you apply them to a row, when you apply them to your SQL statement, right? They affect each row. Are you following me? They affect each row. It says single row functions work on a single row and returns one output per row. That is, when you apply them, they work on a single row and they give you a single result per row. That's why we call them single row function. They apply to a single row and they return a single row, single result per row. That is, when you apply them, if I say at the end of the month, everybody needs to collect salary, right? That is a single row function because it applies to each person. Do you understand? It's not as if you are going to group 10 people together and say, go and manage 10,000 and $10,000, right? Each person will get their own what? Their salary, their own salary. And the value is not usually the same, right? So it's the same thing with single row functions. Same thing with single row functions. You apply them to a single row and you get a single result. You apply them to rows and each row will give you a single result. Multiple row functions work on multiple rows but return a single works on multiple rows but returns a single row as an output, right? Multiple row function will work on multiple rows but give you a single result as an output. Plenty story. Let's get into it, right? Now, we want to talk about single row functions and we'll start with concatenate, the concatenate function, the substring, and the in string, right? Look at it. When you say concatenation, right? From the word concatenate, I'm sure that a few people should be familiar with the word concatenate. So concatenation from the word concatenation, right? So I didn't know the word concatenation until when I joined IT. That's a long time ago, right? So when you say concatenation, right? It means joining, right? You're joining two things together. That's basically it, right? You're joining two things together. You are joining two things together. That's what concatenation means, right? Now, usually we use it for character columns. We use it for character columns, and yeah, you can even concatenate number columns and all of that, right? And to do concatenation, we use the function concat, right? We use the function concat to do concatenation. Let me show you how that works, right? So you say select, look at it, select concatenate first name. All right, so let's do a business case, right? Let's do a business case. Before we begin to, all right, so let's do a business case. So concatenation is the first one we want to talk about. Right? Using the concat function. So business case, generate a report in a statement form, right? Generate the report of employees details in a statement form. Right? So they say generate what? A report of employees' details in a statement form, that is in a form where it means it comes as a statement, right? It comes as a statement, like you are making a statement, right? So to do that, I would say select, right? Now, select now, because I'm going to be joining multiple columns together. So I'm going to use the word concat. Concat is a function, right? And I'm going to do everything that I want to do in that concat. Just want you to follow me. So concatenate the first name. So you say, so let me give you an example of what we want to say. So we're saying that this is an example, e.g., I want to say something like Anita is the financial manager with the employees ID of what? Say 200. That's what we want to say, right? This is an example of what we want to do. So now, if you look at it, Anita is this is probably our first name. Financial manager is the job ID, and so 200 is the employee ID, right? So we want to be able to look at that. But how do we bring in is the with the right and off into this whole statement? So that's why we're using the word concatenation. That's why we're using the concatenation statement, right? So we are going to say that right, concatenated with first name, first underscore name, comma, space. Now I want to bring in space. I want to bring in space. I'm going to use everything that is not part of, that is not a column, right? I'm going to put them in a literal, that is in double quotation marks. So space is the, right, another space, comma, then job ID, job underscore ID, right, comma, with, so we say with again, that's space with the employees ID, the employees ID of space, right? And you say employee underscore ID, right? From employees where department underscore ID. So let's just use the word plus. Let's bring that for everybody, right? Since we are generating for everybody. So we say all right. Hold on. Come in. Right, what happened? Hold on. Come in. Checking my code to make sure everything is right. Awesome, right? So from employee, so we run this now. All right, so let's give it an alias as employees details, right? So we'll run that again. Now look at it. Can you see the result? I hope you're following me. Is everybody following me, please? Let me know if you are following me. Let me know if you are following me. Hello?
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
following.
sir.
All right. So look at it. We concatenated the first name with, this is not a column, right? But it's just characters, right? That's why we put them in double quotation mark. Can you see? And if you look at it, I included space in between so that it can make sense. So is the then job ID, then we say with the employee's ID of, right? Can you see? Then we concatenate that with job ID. Now look at the results. Steven is the AD press with the employee's ID of 100. Can you see the way they came out? Nina is the what? ADP with the employee's ID of what? Of 100, of 101, and so on and so forth. This is the result of of this guy concatenation, of this concat, right? So you can concatenate several things together, right? I can say select, concat, right? Employee ID underscore ID concatenated with what's that? Salary concatenated with job ID, or okay, let's say job ID underscore ID concatenated with hire date, right? From employees where department underscore ID equals 50, right? So if we run this now, so that it will bring, can you see, concatenated employee ID with salary with, but it makes no sense because we can't really differentiate which is which, right? Can you see what we have? First of all, the column name is based on what? It's based on the expression that generates it, right? Can you see? Look at the column name, concat employee ID, same thing that we have here. Is what makes the column name. So we're going to fix that by giving it an alias and say that the alias is details, right? Let's put that details. So we run that again. That should fix. Can you see? It becomes details. But then the result does not make sense. So what do we do? How do we make the result make sense? Who can tell me? How do we make the result make sense? How do we make the result make sense? Anybody? You have joined 4 columns together: salary, employee ID, salary, job ID, hire date, right? We've concatenated them together, right? But it doesn't make sense. So how do we make it make sense? You add space to it. Simple. Add space. You concatenate with space, right? So concatenate space to what you are writing. So if you do this now and you run this, it makes more sense. Can you see? 120 is the employee ID, right? I can even say instead of space, let me concatenate with backslash so that you can have that different separation. Let's put a space before, two, space before, space after, space before, space after, space before, space after. So if we run this now, what do we have? Can you see? Employee ID, salary, job ID, and hire date. I hope you understand what I just did. Please let me know so I can continue to the next one. Any question? All right. Then we want to move to the next one. So imagine that you are given all right. So we want to talk about substring. Let me talk about substring before I move on to using all of them in a business case. So we'll talk about substring, which is using the substring function. Substring
Excuse
function.
me, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Sir, this one you wrote where department underscore. You wrote in that other query you ran the other time. You wrote where department is equal to 50.
I didn't say I never wrote is or is care.
No, you said where department ID equal to 50.
Yes, that's what we have here. Where department ID equals 50.
But where you wrote department ID equal to 50.
This is it here. Where department ID equals 50. Hello. Anytime you see is in your where clause, it is with is not null or is null. Is with is not null or is null. That is what you have. I'll show you now. Where is it again? There. Is not null. Can you see? Is not null. That's what you have. That's where we use or is null. And where is that is null statement? Looking for it. Not between. And that is where you use them. We don't use is. That's where you use them. All right. So we've used the concatenation statement. All right. So we use the concatenation statement. Now, once you use substring, and I say substring works with the substring function, which is this, right? So when you say substring, how does substring work, right? Substring is that you have a word and you want to get out. So let me give you an example. Let me show you what substring does. Right? If we say substring, that is actually basically means subtract from string. Subtract string. That's what substring means. Right? And what you are saying is that if I have the word hello world, right? If I have this word hello world, right? And I label them and I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? And I say from hello world substring hello world. Okay, let me do it. Let me do it well so that you understand it. If I say substring hello world, comma 1, comma 5, right? If I say substring hello world, comma 1, comma 5, what is this going to give us? This is going to give us world. The result will be world. Hello. Why? Hello world is this. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I say substring means subtract the first 1 to 5, character 1 to 5, and give me as result. That is HELLO. Are you following me? So that is what you have. If you bring this again and you say substring hello world, right? And I say 3,7, right? What would that be? Right? 3,7 will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is LLOWO. That's what you get. Are you following me? That is the function of substring, right? Then if we say in string, that is in string, we say in string, and I say hello world, right? And I say hello world, and I say position of W in hello world, right? The position of W in hello world is position 6. In string will tell you the position of a particular character in a what? In a string. So I'm saying what is the position of what? Of W in hello world. So it's telling that position W is on what? Is in position what? Position 6. That is substring and in string. That is substring and in string. So let us look at both of them in an example. Let's look at both of them in an example. Substring, in string. Right, let's look at both of them in this example. Look at it. I don't have a business case for this, but I'm just going to run this, right? So look at it. Concatenate first name space the last name, right? And call it what? Full name. Are we there? Sure, we understood that. Then bring out the first name column. Then substring. Can you see? Substring first name 1, comma what? 5. In string last name. What is the position of A in the last name? Right? What's the position of A in the last name? And bring out the last name. From what? From employees where department ID in 30, 90, 80, and 110. Order by first name. Right? Let's look at this. We run this now. What do we have? Now look at it. We said concatenate what? The first name and the last name, and give it what? A full name. Can you see the result? First name and last name concatenated with what? With the full name. How do we know? Look at the first name column here. About to Erazuris, right? Can you see? About to Erazuris. Alexander Co, right? Can you see? Alexander Co, right? So the first name and the last name has been concatenated to give us this column. Are you following? All right. Now, you say return what to the first name, bring out what the first name, like this. Then look at it, substring the first name, right? So look at the first name. The first name here is about to. Well, say substring what? Substring the first name 1 to 5. Substring the first 5 characters of the first name. Can you see? For each of them, this one is Albert, Alber, Alber. Substring 1 to 5, Alexa, right? And what does this do? What does this substring do? So this kind of column now, we can call it an alias, right? So maybe you want to generate an alias for your employees, right? You want to generate an alias for your employees, and you want to use their first 5 words, the first 5 character of their first name, right? It becomes an alias. So this person, this is about to now, we can call him Abba. Alan, we can call Alan because all his 5 characters came out. Alisa is Alice, Amit is Amis, Charles is Charles, Christopher is Chris, Clara is Clara, right? And if you look at it, all the people with longer names, all the people with shorter names, people with, look at Clara. Clara has just 5 characters in her name, and all the 5 characters came out. Daniela, Danielle has about 8 characters, but Daniel, right? Daniel came out, and so on and so forth, right? You see Elizabeth, what you have is Eliza. Gerard, what you have is Gerard, and so on and so forth. Harrison is Harry. So you can see how that works, right? We can even do what, and just say, let's bring out the first 3 characters of their first name, right? If we run this again, what do you have? First 3 characters, can you see? That's the first 3 characters of their name. Now, that is substring. Then in string is now saying that what is the position of A in their what? In their last name. That's in string. What is the position of A in the last name? Now look at it. 4. How do we know? Look at last name. Last name is Erazuris, right? And A is in position 4. Can you see? Cole does not have any A. Mark Ewing does not have any A. Hudson does not have any A. But Banda has A in the first position. So it's only the first position. It has 2 A's. That name has 2 A's. But the first position that will be recorded. Johnson has no A. Olsen has no A. Vishni has no A. Green has no A. Bestin has no A. Lee has no A. And so on and so forth. So you see all of them, right? The ones that have A, the position of A is what is returned. That is the essence of in string in your statement, right? And if you look at it, you said they are single row functions because they apply to each row and they give you a result per row. Concatenation applies to each row and gives a result per row. Substring applies to each row and gives you a result per row. In string, the same, applies to each row and gives you a result per row, right? Now, let us look at this example. Let's look at this business case. It says, generate an email address for all the staffs using the first character of their first name and last name. First character of first name and last name to what? To create an email address and adding it to what? To the company's email what? Domain, right? Take that question again. It says, generate an email address, right? An email address for all the staffs using the what? The first character of their first name and last name. Of their first name and what? And last name. Adding it to what? To the company's what? Email domain. That's how you want to form what? Their email address. And what does that mean? That means that, so if you take, for example, this is what they're asking you to do, right? So like my name is Oluwaseun Akintibubo, right? Right? The first character of my name is O, and the last character of my the first character of my first name is O. The first character of my last name is O. The company's email address is at avitatech.io. So which means that my email address will be oa@avitatech.io. That is how email addresses are formed, right? In most organizations, right? So we want to see what does the SQL developer or data or database administrator, whoever is working with the SQL, how do they do that? Look at it. Say select. Can you see? Select, concatenate. Remember, we're adding it to the company's domain, right? So concatenate. Now it says substring first name, right? Substring first name will give you the first substring first name, one position one and end at position one, right? Start at position one and end at position one. That is how you get the only one word, only the first name. I mean, only the first character. This is how you get only the first character, right? So, first name, comma one, dot, right? Okay, so we have to introduce dot. So look at it. We're introducing dot. Then it says substring what? Last name, 1, right? And add it to what? At avitatech.io and give it what? An alias called email, right? From employees. If you run this, what do we have? Can you see? SK at habitat.io, NK at habitat.io, LD at habitat.io, A.H at habitat.io. The first character of their first name concatenated with dot concatenated with the first character of their last name, right? And you are concatenating that with what? habitatech.io. Please let me know if you have any question, and let me know if you understood what we just did. Do we understand what I just did?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Awesome.
But this sorry, sir, this dot that you put, if we don't want to put the dot, we can as well remove the dot and
Yes, you can as
just
well
put the
remove. If I
space.
remove the dots, this is what you have.
Mm.
Can you see? The dot is gone. So you have SK
It's gone.
at, do you understand?
Okay.
SK at, exactly. So,
Okay.
all right. Now, this situation now, the second situation that I just ran, if you look at it, what I just did was substring first name 1 and substring last name 1. What I mean by 1 here is that start from the first character to whatever length the person has. Start from the last character to whatever length the person has. Right? So that's what you have here. Right? That is, we are saying that start from the first character of the first name and go to the last length of the person's name. Start from the first character and go to the last length of the person's name. That is what you have in that situation. Right? So that's why if you look at it, it brought out there Stephen.King, Nina.Kocha, Lex.Dehon, and so on and so forth. Right? So that is, if this is the way they give emails in your organization, this is how you're going to write it, right? And you can also write this without using what? The substring. If I remove the substring, right? If I remove the substring, hold on. Let me copy this and rewrite this. Right? So I don't need to use substring here. I can just say first name concatenated with concatenated with last name, concatenated with dots, concatenated with last name. Awesome. So this will give us the same result as what we have over there. Unknown coming. All right. So Can you see? So first name, last name, and it gave me the same result. I don't know why it first of all gave that error, right? But it gave the same result. Can you see? So you do not have to put a, if you are using the full name, the full first name, the full last name, you don't have to use a substring. I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? So once we go to the next one, which is left pad and right pad, right? Left pad and right pad, left pad and right pad. Now, left pad and right pad, I'm sure that you have seen it in situations. I'm just going to explain that briefly. Remember that when we were describing, when you are creating a table, right? When you're creating a table, you say create table student, right? Say create table student, then you say open bracket first name, right? First name. You say varchar, and you give it a length of maybe 25, right? Are you following me? And you give it a length of 25, but the person's name is Ibukun, and you said that the length is 25. The length of the name, the highest length of name anybody can have is 25. But this person's name is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? You have 6 characters, but you made provisions for, you have 6 characters, but you made provision for 25. What happens to the remaining 19, right? What happens to the remaining 19 for this person? It remains 19 character that this person did not fill. What happens to the remaining 19, right? I'm going to explain. Then you have salary, right? Your salary column, you say integer, and you said maybe 10, right? And Ibukun's salary is $5,000, 4 character, right? But you have given provision for 10, so he has an extra 6 characters. So what happens to these excesses? Now, what you have is that they are padded with space, with blank space or white space, padded with white space. I follow it. They are padded with white space, and that is why you are able to do left alignment and right alignment. Even in Excel, you're able to left align or right align your data even in Excel, right? So how do we deal with this kind of issues in SQL, right? We use left pad and right pad to solve them. I'm going to show you now. Left pad, now look at it. We're saying first name, select employee ID, first name. Right pad, the first name, whose length is 20, with this indent. That's an indent. And right part salaries whose length is 8 with star, right? What does that mean? If you run this left part, right part, right? If you run this, can you see the result? Can you see the result? You are saying that for the length of 20, right? This Stephen, everything should make up 20, but Stephen does not have his name. He only has 6 characters in his name. So we added 14 indents. Can you see? 14. Nena has 5, so we added 15. Lex is 3 in character, or 3 characters. We added 17. So this is left padding. Now, we don't do this. I'm just trying to show you what left pad and right pad does, right? We don't do this normally, right? This is not the way names exist on the database, right? But I'm just trying to show you what left pad and right pad does. So you can left pad and right pad. So when you create an object, right, like a first name, and you give a length, right, and you give a length, and there is no left padding, you do not left pad with you didn't left pad implicitly, that is explicitly by yourself, right? What the system does is that it uses space to either to cover up for all the space that you have created that you do not have characters or numbers in there, right? So it uses white space to pad. If you look at the salary, The salary is 8 in length, and left pad with what? Right pad with what? With star. Now you look at it. Left pad, the indent was added to the left part of the name, and on the right pad, the star was, or the asterisk was added to the right part of the salary. So look at this. This guy has 8 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, including the dots, right? That's 8. But look at 9,000. 9,000 is 4. The dot is 5. The next 0 is 6. The next 0 is 7. So he added a pad to that. So if you go down, you see that they all have, a whole lot of them have just one single pad. If I turn this to 10 or 12, right, and we run that again, right, we run that again. Can you see? They have more what? They have more padding. They have more padding to it. So this is the essence of left pad and right pad, right? They are one of the.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, sir. So so you can be able to add more numbers to the right pad after you've added the numbers.
I don't understand that.
I'm asking, if like this now you've added 12 to it
Yes,
and you've increased it.
that's it. Does not affect that 12. Would not affect the normal space or the normal size of that column in the definition of the data of the, or in the definition of the table. This is only for this statement or for this particular SQL statement. This only affects this particular SQL statement. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Awesome. Right? So that is left part and right part. That's left part and right part. Let me just add it on top of it. Left part and right part. So we just use them to make up for space. We just use them to make up for space. Left part and right part. We just use them to make up for space. Basically, that's what we use them for. Make up for white space. So by default, we use white space. The system uses white space, right? But if you don't want white space, you can change it to anything that you want, right? Then the next thing we want to talk about is length. Length basically just tells you what is the length of each value in a column. What's the length of each value in a column? So if you say first name, I'm just going to run this now. You want to know the length of each person's name, right? Look at it. First name, the length of the first name is 6. Last name, the length of the last name is
Mr.
4.
Shaw, I can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
I have not been able to see for a minute yet.
Who else can see my screen? Okay, let me just cut it off and reshare. Can you see my screen now?
No, sir, I can't.
Log out and log in again. I think it's from your end.
All right.
Yeah, just log out and log in again. I'll wait for you. All right. Can you see my screen now, Lola?
No.
Whoa.
Okay, now I can see it. It's back.
All right. All right. So length is a function that just helps us count the number of characters.
So I can't see your screen. No.
Hey. Madam Anita, right? Log out and log in
Yes.
again. I'll wait for you. Log out and log in again. I'll wait for you. Log out and log in again. We're waiting for you. Can she hear me? Madam Anita, can you hear me? All right. So the length, right? The length just helps us calculate or count the length of each first name, right? The length of character for each first name, right? So you want to know the length of their first name. Here in this situation, we're just looking for the length of their first name, the length of their last name, and the length of their salary, right? So you see Stevens has 6 characters in his first name, 4 characters in his last name, and his salary is 8 digits, right? And same thing for every other person, right? So that is what length basically does, right? Length just helps you to check. So if I say select length can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now?
No, sir, I can't. No, I can't see it. I'm not seeing it.
Can you see it now?
No.
You are logged in twice. Which devices are you using?
No, it's just my laptop. I'm not seeing.
But you are in class twice. We can see you twice in class. I'm seeing you twice.
Let me see.
I can see you twice in class. I can see 2 of you in class actually. 2 of you in class. Can you see the screen now?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Log out and log in again. I think one of you just logged out from somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so log out and log in again. All right, let me just write this statement. So length on cat.
Okay. I can see it now.
Oh, awesome. First underscore name concatenated with last underscore name from employees. Right? So if I run this now, right? If I run this now, can you see? Length. Okay, let's do this way. First underscore name Hold on. Okay, first underscore name, last underscore. So let's go and look for last underscore name. Right? So length of first underscore name. All right, look at it. So first name, the length of first name, the length of last name, then the length of the concatenation of both the first name and the last name, right? So length of first name, Stephen is 6, his last name is 4. 6 plus 4 gives us what? 10. Nena is 7, culture is Nena is 5, culture is 7, the total of them is 12. So you can see what we have here is now, I said, the length of the concatenation of their first and last name, right? And this here, this that you have here, is what we call a nested function. Nested function. Nested function. N-E-S-T-E-D. Nested function. Right? We call that, if when you have two functions together in the same expression, we call it a nested function. Nested function, right? So you have a function inside a function, function 1, and you have function 2, right? And so when you have this situation, function 1, function 2 inside a single expression, right? We call that nested function. And how does the nested function evaluate? The function 2 will be evaluated first before function what? Before function 1, right? Sorry, before function 1. Function 2, the inner function, will be evaluated before the outside function. That is, the deepest function will be evaluated before what? Before the least deep function, right? So in some situations, you can have 5, 10 functions nested together, right? So you have function, 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 function. You can nest as much as possible, right? I think the highest that I've ever done, I don't used to look for trouble, is 3. That's the highest. I think 3 or 4 is the highest I've ever done, right? So, and you'll see this also in Excel when you begin to write nested ifs. In nested ifs, you can have 10 nested ifs. If this is this, do this. If this is this, do this. If this is, so you have if. What in SQL is, and it's the same thing. The first one, that is the first one that will be evaluated, is the deepest, right? This is evaluated first, followed by this, followed by this, followed by this, followed by this, and followed by this. This guy will use the result from here. That's what it means. Then this guy will use the result from here. This guy will use the result from here, and they pass it on until what? Until it gets to the last function. It gets to the last function. Please let me know if you understood what I just said. So that is what you have in this situation. So that's what we have in this situation. So basically, what we've just done is look at length as a function, right? Length as a function. All right. Now we talked about substring the other time, but we can also use a function called trim. Trim, right? You trim. If I trim hello from hello word, what do I get? Word. Can you see? If I trim hello from hello word, what do I get? Word. Are you following me? Right? So if you want to write a trim statement, you are saying trim select trim SA from no, but I'm coming. Let me write this and see. Let's see if it's going to make sense. From job ID as trimmed from employees, right, where job underscore ID equals SC underscore. Not sure this is going to run, but let's try it. Oh, beautiful. Iran, right? Iran. Somebody is trying to come into class. All right, so trim is used to trim, right? Remember that we did subset. Subset is that you just want to know, subtract, and it will give you a result. Can you remember subset, right? But trim is that you are removing, you are trimming. Trim it out from it and give me the remainder. That's what trim does. Trim it out from it and give me the remainder. That's what trim does, right? So trim is to remove, right? Is to remove a particular set of characters, right, from an element in the database. Now look at it. I said, and I wrote another statement. Trim what? SA, right? SA is now a character, right? Trim SA from job ID, right? And give it what? Give it the alias trimmed. From employees, where job ID equals sales, SA underscore rep. What am I saying? Remove this SA and give me the results, right? Remove SA, trim SA. Look at it. He gave me underscore rep, 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 underscore rep. Are you following me? Right? So that is how trim works. That's how trim works. That is how trim works, right? Although these are not statements that you would write or that you'd have to write regularly, right? Not things that you're going to write regularly. I hope you're following me, right? So they're not statements that you're going to write regularly. Right. So this is a practical example of trim. This is a practical example of trim. Then replace would not work, right? This would not work. This would not work. Replace would not work. Let me see which one have we not spoken about. All right, so we've talked about concatenate, substring, length, in string. So we want to talk about lower, upper, round, and truncate. Lower, upper, round, and truncate. Right? Lower, upper, round, and truncate. That's what we want to talk about now. Then we've also talked about trim, talked about left pad, talked about right pad, right? Talk about left pad, talk about right pad. Which one did we talk about again? Let me see. All right, basically that's it, right? So we just have a few left to go, and we wrap up today. We wrap up class today. Just have a few left to go. All right, so let's talk about upper and lower. So case conversion functions. These guys are called case conversion functions. I think I have an example of them somewhere. Let me see. Just hold on. Give me a moment. Do I? All right, no. Okay. All right, so we'll call them case conversion functions, right? And both of them are just two, upper and lower, right? Upper and lower, right? So if I say that, if we say select all, or let's say select first name, last underscore name, from employees. From employees, right? Now look at the way the data came out. You see that it is in what we call init cap. Init cap. It came out as init cap. Init cap means that the first character is capitalized and the rest is in small letter. The first letter is capitalized and the rest is in what? Is in small letter, right? So I want to convert these cases, right? I want to convert this init cap situation to uppercase and lowercase. So how do I do that? I'm just going to say upper for first name and lower for last name. Upper for first name and lower for last name. Let's see what that does. Can you see? The first name are converted to uppercase and the last name are converted to lowercase. That is the function of upper and lower case conversion functions. Upper and lower case conversion function, right? So you can convert anything that has to do with character, right? You can convert them to upper and lower, upper and lower, right? But the default case for objects or for data in on the database is init cap, right? Init cap. Init cap means that the first init cap means that the first character init cap, right, means the first character is in uppercase, right? So you have something like king, right? Right. So that is upper, that is init cap, which is the default way that the data are stored. But you can convert them to upper. And all right. So the lastly for today, we'll finish chapter 7 today. Actually, that's what it means. So we'll start chapter 8 tomorrow, and yeah, wow, still on good timing, right? So lastly for today, so that we can rest and prepare for church tomorrow, is want to talk about round. Want to talk about round and truncate. Round and truncate, right? Round from mathematics means that you want to round up a particular figure. So if I say select round, if I say select round 9.53, comma, hold on people, hold on. All right, so we want to round up this particular figure. Want to round up this figure. 5457. Right? Want to round up this figure 5457 to this to 3 decimal places, right? From dual. Right. I'm going to explain what dual means now so that you understand, right? From dual. So if we run this now, can you see? Round would run. Can you see the result? Of course, we all know this from mathematics, right? It rounds up these two decimal places and these to 3 decimal places, right? Right. And that is now, there's a table called dual table. What's mine? There's a table called the dual table, right? The dual table. Right? The dual table. Some of these things, I think I've mentioned like 2-3 things today that I did not teach the first set, right? Right. So there's a table called the dual table, and this table is used for okay, let me say it this way. This table, the dual table, right? This dual table is used for calculations on the database, and dates and time also comes from this table. So it's a default table that came with what? It comes with the data management system, database management system, right? And if you select everything from the dual, let me show you. You see that there's nothing inside of it actually, right? Let's say select all from dual. What you should have is X. Select all from dual. It should give us X from dual. So it's not a table that you can query. That's basically what I want you to understand. It's not a table that you can write an SQL statement against, right? You see, it's not even giving us anything. In Oracle, it will give you, can you see? It says no table what? No tables used, right? Because the table does not really exist like that. It is part of the system table. It is part of the system tables here, right? It's part of the system tables here, and it is not a table that you can query. That's why it is showing that it does not exist. In Oracle, this statement will give you X. It will give you just X as a result. A column, it will give you a column and a row, and you just put X there, X, right? So the dual table is the table that is used for calculations, and also where the date and time is what is gotten from. Date and time is gotten from, right? So we use the dual table for calculations, right? So in this situation now, what we have done is that we have used the round function to round up these values to 2 decimal places. Can you see? This 2 here means precision, decimal places, right? And 3 decimal places, right? That is round, right? Then the next one we want to talk about is the truncate, right? So if I say truncate, let's just copy this. And I remove round, I just put trunc. I say truncate to 2 decimal places, and truncate, let's say to 1. Okay, let's say truncate to 1 decimal place, then truncate to 0. Right? So we say from what? From dual right? What do we have as our result? Right, can you see? Truncate in the other way, right? Truncate yanks off. Truncate function yanks, let me just use that word, yanks off the values yanks off values. That's basically what we say, right? Truncate yanks off values. It yanks them off, like remove them. That's what it means, right? It just remove. So if you look at it in round, we say round to 2 decimal places. It will turn 5 to 1 and add it to 4. It becomes 5. Round to 3 decimal places. It will turn 7 to 1 and add it to 6. So what you have here is 55, 9.55, and here is also, what you have is 9.546. But for truncate does not round off. What truncate does is that it will remove these two. Can you see? It deleted 5 and 7 from the equation or from the number. It deleted 5 and 7. In this situation, we said what? Yank off what? To 1 decimal place. Remove 457. Can you see? Remove 457. When I said to 0 decimal place, it removed all of them. It removed all of them. That is the function of truncate. That's the function of truncate. That's the function of truncate. Are you following me? Right? There's one more function that I want to talk about before we close, and it's called mode. Like I said, I didn't teach the first class this mode as well. They will tell me off the year, right? I didn't teach them. I'm not sure I even taught them truncate around, right? So I've taught you more things than I've taught them already, right? Mode is a value. Let me write an SQL statement for it before I explain. Select employee ID. That's for ID. First name, salary, and mode. Salary divided by salary, 5,000 from employees, right? Let's run this. All right, good. So mode, right? Mode is a function that returns the remainder after a division. After division, right? Mode returns the remainder after division, right? Now, what does that mean? Let me show you, right? If I say mode, right? If I say mode, right, and I say 5 mode 5,2, right? In some situations, you see mode as percentage, right? In some programming language, right? You see it as what? Percentage. What am I doing? What am I writing? Right, you see that's percentage, right? But here we're using as so in some situation you see 5 modulo 2, right? Mode is actually called modulo, right? That's the full meaning of it. Modulo, right? But a function has been created for it in MySQL called mode, right? And like I said, in substitutions, this is how it is written. Instead of writing mode, you just in Oracle actually, this is what it is. It's just percentage, right? It's just percentage, right? So if you say 5 modulo 2 or 5 modulo 2 in this whatever situation, right? What it's saying is 5 divided by 2. But in this situation, if you say 5 divided by 2, that's 1 remainder what? I mean, sorry, that's 2 remainder. 2 remainder 1, right? That's 2 remainder 1, right? But what modulo would do is that it does not have anything to do with the number of times that 2 can go in 5. What is concerned about is just the remainder. So it returns only the remainder. So if you say 10 divided by 2, right, that's 5 remainder 0. What it will return to you is 0. That's mode. Mode will return 0 because there is no what? 0 is the remainder, right? So it only returns the remainder. It only returns the remainder, right? It only returns the remainder. So and how do you do? What do you use mode for in say in real life scenario? You want to know which value is an even value and which value is an odd value, right? You want to know which value is even and which value is odd, right? Odd and even value, right? You can use mode to determine which value is an even value and which is what is an odd value, right? But look at this, right? You say select employee ID, first name, salary, then mode. Salary divided by what? I mean, salary is a mode salary, then 5,000. So we're saying divide the salary by 5,000 and return the remainder, right? Divide the salary by 5,000. Let's say mode again. Salary by 10,000, right? Can you see? Same. So divide the salary by 10,000 and return the remainder, right? So if you look at it, these are all of them, right? By 10,000 and return the remainder, right? Can you see? So it will return the remainder. 24 divided by 5 will give you 4. The 4 remainder 4,000. And divided by 10,000 will be 2 remainder what? 2 remainder 4,000. Right. So that is how mode works. That is how mode works. That is how mode works. Right. So any question? I think we've come to the end of today's class. Any question before we before we close class today? Today we've been able to deal with chapter 7 fully. We did a recap of chapter 6 and we consumed the whole chapter 7 today of our module. So tomorrow we'll have to deal with both chapter 8 and probably chapter 9 since we have more time to ourselves tomorrow. And they are basically aggregated functions that we'll be talking about tomorrow. Let me see. Yes, we're talking about what are group functions. We'll talk about group functions, types of group functions, the syntax for group functions, using average, sum, minimum, maximum, count, and distinct. We've talked about distinct before. We'll talk about it again, using the group by clause and using the average clause. Tomorrow, then we will start to join. We'll also talk about joining tables together tomorrow as well. So we're going to be doing chapter 8 and chapter 9 tomorrow. Chapter 8 and chapter 9 tomorrow, so that we can have we just have 2 or 3 chapters left to go, right? So probably, most likely, what we are doing is that we will finish SQL by next weekend. I think somebody will clap and say, yay, we're finishing SQL by next weekend, right? We finish SQL by next weekend and we would have just 1 or 2 classes to talk about Git. Basically, maybe 1 class to just talk about Git. Git is not that heavy. It's not as heavy it's not heavy at all, right? We can finish Git in 1 single. And yes, and the career class is coming. The person that we're bringing has been busy, but we're still in talks with the person so that we can bring somebody to talk to us before the class runs out. So what that means is that after this weekend, we have basically just 2 to 3 classes to go. 3 classes to 3, just 2 weekends to go now. Just 2 weekends to go, majorly. After this weekend, next weekend, we'll finish next weekend. Most likely, if we don't finish next weekend, we'll finish by upper Saturday, upper Sunday. And this program will be put to bed. And we would say that we'll write our project series after the classes. You would have 2 weeks to do your project and submit all the assignments that you have been given, and you'll get your certificate after that. Right? So please, all the videos are available on YouTube. If you have not been engaging them, please engage them. Right? If you have questions from the beginning of the class, of course, you know that I can answer your questions, and I'll answer your questions on either the live classes that we have or on the WhatsApp group that we use, right? So please ask your questions. Let your understanding be fruitful, right? So we are actually at the end of the program, right? We're wrapping up. So in 2 to 3 weeks, mostly we would be done. 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hoping that we can finish in 2 weeks. That is after this Saturday, after this weekend, next weekend. After this weekend, next weekend we'll round off. Any question, please?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, sir. Before we round up, you're going to take us on the foreign keys, right? And how to insert
I can't hear you.
data.
I can't hear you.
I said before we round up,
Okay.
you're going to take us on. You said you're going to teach us how to do the foreign keys and how to insert names on our data.
Yes.
And,
Insert
yes.
is one of the topics. Is one of the last topics that we'll talk about. It's a very
Okay.
simple topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foreign keys. Yes, I think what we'll do tomorrow is okay. After we've talked about inserts, then we'll talk about foreign keys. Right. Of course, we've talked about foreign keys before, but I want to teach you how to insert.
Yes.
Then you now use your foreign key using the alter table statement. Yes. Yes, we'll talk about
Yes.
that.
Okay.
Talk about that.
Okay, sir.
Talk about that. Don't worry. Any other question, please? John, any question? Lola D, any question? I said
No
Lola D.
question.
Lola. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I knew it was me. Of course, it's right. Yeah. I wanted to ask about what I think it was Anita asked the question. I don't know about auto sequence with foreign keys. I
Yes,
sent
yes,
you something
yes. Like I
some
said,
message in that.
I wanted to. Yeah, I know that it's posing problems to us, right? And what I want to show us is, I want to show us is a process of how, or the process of how foreign key works, right? We'll see it in a proper example. How and why it's difficult to use foreign key when you have not added values into your table, right? But I don't want to talk about it now because we've not started adding values to our tables. So I want to talk about it when we've learned how to add values to our tables. You now see how you can alter your table. I mean, how you can add foreign keys to your table. Do you understand? Reference your tables and all that. And I'll explain the reason why it is giving us issues now and why it will not give us issues then. Do you understand? Do we understand?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other question? Trisha, you want to say something? Madam Anita, any question?
No.
I know Luapo, you came late.
No, sir, no question.
Awesome. 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 So I will drop the videos, right? I dropped 10 assignments for us on WhatsApp group. I dropped 10 questions on the WhatsApp group. And the reason why I'm not asking for them yet is because I know I dropped them. I think I dropped them yesterday. Right? So I'm going to drop some more for what we have done today, so that we have enough to submit by next week. Right? Please and please and please, if you have not engaged any of the videos, please engage the videos. You can even like the videos. Please like the videos when you are downloading them, or when you are engaging. Just like them. Just subscribe to the channel and like them, and all of that, right? So that we can up the channel a little bit, right? I'm not a YouTuber, but I'm thinking of beginning to do YouTubing, right? So that I can use it to promote more technology trainings and technology content, right, for people, right? But try to download the videos or watch the videos to learn and learn more and learn more and learn more, right? Now, let me say this in passing. Like I said earlier, SQL is a broad knowledge, and you see how it has been, and you see that I want to believe that the knowledge that you have gained so far um, is vital to your going forward, right? And I'm sure that the way you see data is a bit different now than how you see it before, right? And then, like I said, this is just the beginning. But we cannot get everything in class, right? We can't get everything in class. But as you watch those videos, as you attempt the assignment, as you discuss on the group, right? When you have an issue and you bring it on the group and everybody puts heads together to be able to solve it, right? That is how you will learn, right? That is how you will learn, right? And I want us to really, really, and really put ourselves into this, right? Like I said, a few people had gotten jobs already from just attending these classes, right? And those are the testimonies that we're getting. And I don't want you to be left out, right? You want to upskill yourself either in your present job or in your career as a pursuit for other opportunities. So please, I want us to really, really use this opportunity, learn this thing very well. And if you look at it, the way we have learned this or the way I've taught it, you don't really need a book, right? You don't really need a book because really and truly, everything that you need in SQL is what I have taught you, or is what we have almost done with, right? So I just need you to engage with the content and be better for it, right? Thank you for coming to class today. I see you tomorrow by. I really want to start class by. Is 3 o'clock okay for us tomorrow? Let me ask.
No,
It's-
sir. No, sir. Please let's make it 4,
let's
please.
start by 4, Abby.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other person? Any other person?
Four is okay, sir. Four is okay.
All right. All right. So we'll meet tomorrow by 4 to do and I want to finish 2 chapters tomorrow. All right, we'll see how we can do it. We'll see how we can do it. We can do it actually. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Do have a wonderful evening. God bless you.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Yes, ma'am.